Welcome back, WIP Midday Show, live from Clearwater, Florida. Joining us right now is Phillies relief pitcher Orion Kerkering. Ryan, how you doing, man?
Good, about you?
Good. We're excited for the season here and excited for your third year now. A couple years ago, you came up at the end, and last year full season. So where do you feel you're at? Like second full season in this bullpen now?
I think ready to go. I'm just ready for season start, and just kind of got feet wet last year a little bit. Understood like where everything's at with everything. So I think just ready to go at this point.
So, Orion, last year, you first came up, it was like a whirlwind. Late September, you got in and you helped and you got into the bullpen in the playoffs. Last year, you kind of settled into a role. Do you have a sense of how Topper is going to use you this year? Because there's been some changes in the bullpen, right? Some guys out, Estevez out and Hoffman out. And I know the Phillies don't usually do like a closer thing. I guess Romano might get those first chances. But do you have a sense of how Topper is going to use you this season?
I think the same way as last year a little bit. I think just those important innings doesn't matter between the 6th to the 9th, I feel like, because I think Strom got in there a couple of times. I know Jeff got in there last a little bit late in the year when games got a little more important, especially in the postseason. But I think just closer by committee, honestly, the same thing, where it's like, I think if Alvey keeps doing what he's been doing, throwing 102, it's kind of hard to almost not put him in the closer role, or like how Jordan's throwing or how Strom was throwing before he got hurt. It's just like, it's hard not to say, like, these guys can't be in the 9th inning either.
I'm curious, how tough is it to not know, like being in a rotation in the bullpen like you are? How tough is it not knowing when your number might be called or what position you might be in when your number's called?
I think just last year was just, you kind of got a sense of like where the lineup was. Like, we kind of go through the scouting report a little bit in the bullpen of like where the lineup's at today, because lineup always changes every day. Mm-hmm. So it's just like, okay, here's your slot of more guys. So it's like, for me, it might be more righties. For Strom, it's probably more lefties. Alvey, it's heavy lefties. Jeff was a little bit of both. So it's just kind of like you understood like where, if this part of the lineup comes in the 6th inning, you're more likely going to get that call. So they prepped you a little bit, so it wasn't like, oh, you're going to get the 7th today or you're going to get the 8th today, and like you're going to face 3 lefties in a row and you're going to have to try to figure them out. So it's like you kind of know ahead of time of like, if this part of the lineup comes up in the 6th inning and it's like 1st and 2nd, you might get the call or something. Or if you get some trouble here, like we might go to you or something.
So we're in a situation like that, and you're going into the game and say you might go in a situation with the bases loaded, do you have like in your mind preset what kind of pitches you want to try to throw, or is it you just get in the game and try to get a feel for what they might be chasing that day?
A little bit of both. I think it just depends on the scouting report and like who's up. For example, it could be like Giancarlo, where he's just a heavy sweeper guy, or like heavy like off-speed guy, or it's like you need a ground ball in a certain situation. So JT does a great job. Stubby does a great job. They're always in the food room like every day, like 3 hours before the game, studying, doing their notes on every single guy and prepping ahead of time anyways. So it's like, it's really hard not to trust them. And then with the scouting report that Caesar does in the bullpen for us, and knowing like, hey, this is a chase pitch, here's like the outcome, and like with all the iPads and technology, it's pretty important, and like how awesome it is to like see it and like, okay, this makes sense of why we're throwing it to this guy.
Okay.
Is there a difference in mentality at the inning, or is it matter, like you said, the pocket of the lineup, the batters? Because when we were growing up, like there were closers, and then there were people talked about like you had to have a mentality to be a 9th inning. I feel like with you guys now, it's more like, hey, put me in whenever, and I'm good. Or is it different for you if you're in the 8th or the 9th? Like, does it feel different?
I don't think so. To me, it doesn't feel different. I think how you just said exactly is how we feel. It's like we know from anywhere, if the starter can give us at least 5 or even 4, we know the bullpen can handle that rest of the 5, 6 innings, whatever it might be, however long the game is, if needs to go to extras. But it's just, I think everyone knows, like, this is my pocket of guys, and I'm going to do the best I can to get them out as quick as I can and make them look foolish, basically. So it makes it fun.
You know what? You said something that just prompted another question for me. You said, if they go 5, you're good.
Yeah.
What if they don't go 5? What if they go like 2 or 3? How does that change your mindset going into a game, knowing that you might get a pocket of guys that, like, that wasn't in your original plan? How do you plan for that?
For sure. I think it's just a game of adjustments, so you just always talk about it. I mean, more often than not, it's like Strom, Alvey, and Jeff last year were all like towards the top of the lineup, or like certain guys like bottom of the lineup, like the Dodgers or something. They always try to bring in a couple guys for those certain spots. But I think just overall, it's just same hitters, same different type of mindset kind of thing. So I think just keep attacking and then understand maybe it's just plans change last second, like how you said. It's just like, to us, it's like the moment, basically.
That's what I was kind of, because when you said it, that's the first thing I thought about, like, because you say you have a pocket, and then that pocket changes. You're like, hold up,
Yeah,
these
exactly.
ain't the cats that I was looking for.
So that's what helps when, like, long relief guys. So it's like if Ty's back there, Joe Ross that we just signed, it's like helpful. That's like, okay, we can get the 1 inning guy. That way he gets built up, and then he's able to go for the bulk 3 innings or so, 2 to 3 innings to help push or add on to the bullpen so they get in. And then when the bullpen guys come in later in the game, it's only have to cover 3 or 4 innings versus how you said, like, all 7 of them.
So it's a numbers game. Like you're basically playing a numbers game.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
What's nice for you guys is those oblique moments don't happen much with this team. Your starting rotation pitches deep in games. Does that help keep you guys fresh throughout the year? Like, what kind of an advantage is it that you have 5, maybe 6 starters that could pitch 5, 6 almost every time through? A lot of teams don't have that. A lot of teams are in their bullpen 4th, 5th inning every other day. It doesn't happen here. That's got to be a great advantage.
Yeah, it's like crazy last year when, like, before the All-Star break, it was crazy because, like, we'd all be out there and it's like, are we going to throw this week? Because I remember times where it's like a couple guys only threw once a week just because I think there was a week span or like week and a half span where like Sanchi threw a complete game. I think Nola threw a complete game like a week and a half, 2 weeks later. So it's like, are we ever going to get in the game kind of thing? So it's kind of funny to say it that way. But yeah, exactly. It just keeps all of us fresh, keeps us ready to go. So I think that's why it kept us so dominant for so long in that first half because they did such a great job of just being able to stay in the game as long as they could, and then at that point we're winning, obviously, and then you just throw us, like, all the guys who throw hard, have nasty stuff, and just get guys out as fast as they can. So it's almost a no-brainer for the other team, like, oh, we're going to lose today.
So where are you at? We had about a week to go here before the first game, 9 days. Are you there? Like, at this point of spring, are you ready to roll, or is it more like still building that velocity? Like, where are you as a pitcher 9 days till opening day?
I think I'm basically there, like, rounding that last turn if we're going by, like, mileage-wise. Like, I'm coming around the 3rd or 4th turn right now. So I think it's just kind of building up, like, composure, stamina, just because of just how we're crazy we are going back-to-back a lot, and especially during season, how, like, those tight games get even tighter and stuff like that. So I think it's just building up your arm that way between you might have to throw 30 pitches or have to go 1+. So I think it's just building up that aspect of it, but I think mentally wise, I'm ready to go.
Let's talk about expectations, the way you guys talk among yourselves. I mean, for the fan base, it's the World Series. I mean, the last couple of years, and since you've been here, it's like you guys are this close. I mean, you were in the NLCS, and then last year, great season, then out in the first round. Is that something you guys talk about, like the goals? I know everyone has personal goals, but do you guys talk about winning the World Series among yourselves? Or is it just kind of like everyone knows it, or do you say it out loud, like let's go win this thing?
A little bit of both. I think there's times where it's like I think everyone in that clubhouse knows we want to go win the World Series. So it's like the Eagles. It's like our goal. We know we're the best team. We know we're like whoever, but the finish line is winning it. It's not just getting there. So I think that's just like a mental goal for everyone. It's like the first goal is all, like how you said, like personal goals. But I think before those personal goals, it's winning the World Series and doing whatever you can. Whether it's I need to sit out and just be a good teammate, or try to do everything I can to win for this team. So I think that's the most important thing. Is just I think that's just almost in everyone's back in their mind.
Yeah. How about for this division this year? I mean, it's loaded. The Mets and the Braves. I mean, for you, do you kind of look at those lineups and be like, man, I got to get a lot of big outs in these games?
Not so much. No. Just I think every game is important. I mean, obviously there's a little difference. Like I know Miami's rebuilding. DC's getting really good now. Other teams. So I think it just each team has their 3 or 4 guys. I feel like now it's like facing, I wouldn't say it's like college, but it's like everyone's got their 3 or 4 main guys, and then it's like, all right, here's like their platoon guys, and try to get them out as fast as they can, because those platoon guys are like, you just see it all the time, like the 9-hole just randomly hits a home run off, and you're just like, how that happened kind of thing. So it's just, I think every guy's important, and I think just leagues are just so strong, and especially in our NL East.
Orion Kerkering joining us here. Who's been year plus in the big leagues? Who's been the most difficult guy for you to face? Is anyone giving you like a lot of trouble, or have you handled everyone? So I'm trying to think. Like, has any great hitter been the one you're like, man, that one gives me trouble?
Gosh, DJ Stewart for the most random reason why.
That happens sometimes. It's like a random guy.
Just a random, like, because I remember we played him early in the year. It was like a Thursday night game, and like he fouled off, I think, like 10, 11 pitches, and the last one he just hit a single. I was like, how the hell do you do that every time? Or like, there's another time, I think in 23, he took me like a deep count again. So it was just really frustrating to get like those guys. But I think overall, I think everyone's a good competition.
All right, so I wish we had you yesterday, because Hugh Doulgas did you see his first pitch yesterday?
No, I didn't.
All right, I'm going to pull this up. We're going to show Orion.
Why you got to show?
We're going to show Orion Hugh's first pitch. Well, I want him to grade it, because I just want to see what. I mean, we got a pitcher in here, Hugh. We got to get him.
It can't
to
be that bad.
Well, I don't know. All right, so here it is. Tell us what you thought of this, and then tell us if you could help Hugh out here, his mechanics. So here he's warming up a little bit here. You did a couple warm-ups there, Hugh.
It didn't help.
Yeah, here we go. So he bounced this thing at like 55. You're going to see it right now. Here we go. Here's the Hugh first pitch. There was a divot in front of the mound after for like 2 innings.
Why you gotta?
That's not bad.
He said
That's
it's
not terrible.
bad.
That's not terrible at
Well,
all.
dude, it's not. I keep trying to tell them every day. It's not easy to throw a pitch, and especially when you haven't. That's not a motion that I do on a day-to-day basis. But you know what the funny thing about it is? Now I'm a little defensive because everybody had a compliment or had not a compliment, but had something to say about my pitching, and they had full beers in their hand, and I kept trying to tell them it's not easy pitching.
No, it's
Tell
not.
him
no,
it's not easy.
That
It's
wasn't
not
that bad.
easy.
It wasn't that bad.
You're just making me
He's
feel
being
bad.
No, I'm
He's
being
being nice,
serious.
yeah.
I've seen. I mean, you've seen videos. I forget who was the DJ. I'm turning blank. He was with the Mets and he like threw it behind the backstop.
It was
like
50 Cent.
50 Cent.
Yeah, it
that's
was
who
like-
was.
it was like 20 feet the wrong
but
way,
you know
yeah.
what? It's funny because
Oh, well, on that
knew,
scale, it wasn't that bad.
Well,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
I knew when it left my hand, I was like, "Oh, this is horrible. I'm gonna get killed." Because it's almost like if you release it at the wrong point, oh, it's going down. And I did, and I didn't want to
You launch it.
Yeah, I didn't want to lob it. Yeah,
there.
so I was like, "Oh, I tried to, Then I was like, "Oh, that stinks." And then I just kept trying to tell them, I'm like, "Dude, it's hard to pitch. If everybody could pitch, everybody would be doing it,
100%.
making all that kind of see." So I don't feel.
Well,
bad.
now you let him off the hook. Now he's going to say, Orion told me it wasn't that bad. Orion Kerkering, Phillies pitcher. Good luck this season. We'll be watching, and we'll talk soon.
Appreciate it.
There he
Thank
goes.
you.
Orion
Thanks a lot.
Kerkering on the Midday Show.